was supposed to bring one family back together ended up tearing 3 relationships apart in front of everyone. If you thought last week's episode was heavy, today's episode takes things to a whole new level, and by the end of this video you'll understand exactly why fans are already calling this one of the most talked about episodes of the season. Stick with me till the end because there's a scene near the serum you will not believe what just happened on Inimba, because a graduation party that only on the mountain that has left the entire timeline in shock. Let's start from the top. The episode opens with the household buzzing with excitement because today is graduation day, and everyone has been waiting for this moment for a long time. There's a real sense of pride in the air, family members are getting dressed, food is being prepared, and there's talk of throwing a proper celebration party afterward with everyone invited. For a moment, it genuinely feels like this family is finally getting a win after everything they have been through. But of course, on this show, good news never comes without a shadow following right behind it, and that shadow shows up almost immediately. The first sign of trouble comes when it becomes clear that not everyone is on the same page about who should be allowed to attend the celebration. There's tension simmering under the surface about old wounds that were never properly healed, and you can feel that someone in this family is still carrying pain from the past that hasn't been addressed. One of the mothers makes it clear that she is willing to put her own feelings aside for the sake of her son's big day, saying that she is ready to attend the graduation and will not let old grievances stop her from being there to support him. It's actually a touching moment, because she makes it clear that this day is not about her personal history with anyone else in the room, it's about her child's achievement, and she refuses to let anyone make it about anything else. But that peace does not last long. As preparations continue, a conversation shifts toward mental health, and for the first time this season the show touches on a topic that a lot of viewers have been hoping they would address more directly. There are hints that one of the characters has been struggling silently, dealing with something that looks a lot like depression, and it becomes obvious that this person has been putting on a brave face while dealing with real internal pain. The show doesn't spell it out in dramatic fashion, it's handled quietly, almost in passing, but if you're paying attention you can tell that this thread is going to come back later in the season, and it might be connected to everything that unravels afterward. Then comes the moment a lot of viewers have been dreading, the actual guest list drama. Someone in the family firmly states that they do not want certain people showing up to the graduation, essentially declaring that as long as they have any say in it, specific individuals will not be welcome at this celebration. It's a bold statement, and it instantly changes the tone of the episode from celebratory to tense. What makes this particularly interesting is the reasoning behind it, because it seems to trace back to a recurring pattern in this family where every time there's a chance at reconciliation, something happens that pulls everyone back into conflict instead. It's like watching 2 steps forward turn into 3 steps back, over and over again, and by this point some of the characters seem exhausted by the cycle, even if they can't quite break out of it. While all of this is happening at home, the show cuts to a completely different storyline that has been building for a few episodes now, involving a business deal that is about to blow up in spectacular fashion. There's a character who has decided he wants to sell his shares, moving things to another level in his business dealings, but the way he chooses to go about it ends up betraying someone very close to him. Without spoiling every detail, the emotional core of the storyline is betrayal, plain and simple. One character finds out that shares connected to their family legacy are being sold off, and the reaction is exactly what you'd expect: shock, confusion, and a deep sense of being blindsided by someone they trusted. What makes this scene even more painful is who ends up finding out about the deal and how they find out. It's not delivered gently. Instead, someone close to the situation discovers that shares are being handed over to a rival's associate, and there is a heartbreaking moment where a young woman learns that her partner has essentially sold out a family asset to benefit someone connected to a person who has caused this family pain before. Her expression in that scene says everything. You can see the sadness and disbelief on her face as she processes what her own partner has just done, and it's clear that this is going to have consequences that ripple far beyond just the business side of things. Meanwhile, Back at the celebration preparations, there's a quieter subplot involving a young woman who has poured her heart into a project, only to be reminded that she still has room to grow and that the recognition she was hoping for might not come as easily as she thought, even though the original idea was hers to begin with. It's one of those subtle moments that speaks to a bigger theme this season, about people doing the work but not always getting the credit, and about how family dynamics can sometimes overshadow individual achievement. She takes the feedback in stride, though you can tell it stings a little, and there's a sense that she is going to have to keep proving herself even within her own family circle. There is also a domestic thread running through the episode involving someone returning to the family company after time away, and the reaction to that return is not exactly warm. One character makes it very clear to a young woman in the household that she essentially has two choices: find a way to make peace and work alongside this person who has just come back, or step away entirely. It's blunt, almost cold in its delivery, and it puts this young woman in an incredibly difficult position because leaving isn't really a realistic option for her right now, and everyone in the room knows it. She's left with very little room to maneuver, and it's clear that this storyline is setting up more friction between her and the returning family member in future episodes. Now here's where the episode takes an unexpected emotional turn. A young couple decides to make an announcement to the family, revealing that they are now officially together and are planning to raise their baby as a united couple moving forward. On paper, this should be a moment of joy, a young family stepping into a new chapter with intention and commitment. But instead of being met with celebration, the announcement lands awkwardly, and one of the family members responds in a way that comes across as almost mocking, suggesting that stepping up in this way is what makes someone a real man, phrased in a tone that feels more like a jab than genuine encouragement. It's an uncomfortable scene to watch, because you can tell the young couple wanted this to be a proud moment, and instead it gets tangled up in someone else's insecurities and need to prove a point. That same tension bleeds into a private conversation between two brothers, where one voices frustration about another family member being incapable of making his own decisions without his wife weighing in on everything. There's an undercurrent of jealousy here too, because it becomes clear that some family members are worried that this new arrangement, with one man stepping up to support a young mother and her child, is going to shift the emotional balance of the household. There's concern that a warm, loving matriarch figure in the family might unintentionally overshadow someone else simply by being kind and supportive, which says a lot about the insecurities running underneath this family's surface. It's not really about the baby or the young couple at all, it's about long-standing sibling rivalry and unresolved feelings of being the less favored child, and the show does a good job of letting that tension simmer without spelling it out too obviously. And then we get to the scene everyone is going to be talking about, the traditional ceremony on the mountain. This is where things go from tense family drama to full-blown chaos. As preparations are being made to head to the mountain for what is clearly meant to be a serious, culturally significant occasion, one character shows up dressed in a way that immediately raises eyebrows among everyone present, wearing an outfit that is completely inappropriate for the seriousness of the event and the customs being honored that day. It's such a jarring visual contrast, everyone else dressed respectfully for a solemn traditional occasion, and this one person showing up looking like they're headed somewhere completely different. The reaction from the rest of the family is immediate disbelief, and there's a moment where it becomes obvious that this person is pregnant, which adds a whole new layer of shock to the scene, because up until this point nobody seemed to know, and the reveal happens in the most public, least private way possible, right as everyone is preparing to head up the mountain for the ceremony. The fallout from this scene is intense. Family members are stunned, there's a mix of concern and frustration in the air, and you can tell that this revelation is going to change the dynamic of the ceremony itself. It's a masterclass in dramatic timing by the writers, because instead of allowing this pregnancy to be revealed in a quiet, controlled setting where the family could process it together, it gets dropped right in the middle of preparations for one of the most important cultural moments of the episode, forcing everyone to deal with two enormous emotional events at the same time. As the ceremony scenes continue, There's a lighter moment thrown in for balance, a bit of laughter and warmth between family members that reminds viewers this show still knows how to breathe between heavy moments. It's brief, but it's appreciated, because after back-to-back scenes of betrayal, business drama, and shocking reveals, the audience needs a second to exhale before the next gut punch arrives. And arrive it does, because by the end of the episode, we see one of the central characters make the decision to face the consequences of his actions head-on. After everything that unfolded with the business betrayal earlier in the episode, this character chooses to return to the family, apologize, and try to clear his conscience, even though it's clear that the damage has already been done and trust is going to take a long time to rebuild, if it can be rebuilt at all. It's a quiet, almost humbled scene compared to the chaos of everything before it, and it leaves viewers wondering whether this apology is going to be accepted, or whether it's simply too little too late given everything that has already been set in motion. The episode closes on an emotionally heavy note, with characters processing grief, disappointment, and uncertainty about what comes next. There's a lingering sense that this family, despite genuinely loving each other, keeps finding new ways to hurt one another, whether through business betrayals, insensitive comments, or reveals that land at the worst possible moments. And that's really the heartbeat of this episode. It's not just about one graduation party going wrong, it's about how deeply interconnected all of these family wounds are, and how a celebration meant to bring everyone together instead exposed just how fragile the peace in this household really is. So what did you think of today's episode? Do you think the apology at the end is going to be enough to repair what was broken, or is this family heading toward an even bigger blow-up in the episodes to come? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Make sure you like this video if you enjoyed the breakdown, and subscribe so you don't miss my review of the next episode, because if today is anything to go by, things are about to get even more intense on Inimba.